Tendai Mwadi, be thankful unto the Mother, Father, creative life force of the universe, Kudzai Muzimu Mukulu. We give praises unto our great ancestors. Abibi Tumi, Abibi Fahodi, African power and African liberation for all African people. Quick video, because the talk of the town right now, yeah, is the Green Party candidates interview on The Breakfast Club. Yes, indeed. The candidates, the presidential candidates for the Green Party, namely Jill Stein and Butch Weir, appeared on The Breakfast Club, yeah, yesterday, and this interview is a very interesting one, and I encourage ones and ones to go check out that interview. My particular interest in this interview is because I am generally speaking interested in the prospects of third parties and third party candidates in electoral politics in every nation, particularly those that are very, very heavily dominated by duopolies, that is to say, dominated by the two-party systems, yeah? And so that is nations like America, nations like the United Kingdom of Great Britain, and practically all of our back home nations in Africa and the Caribbean. So third-party candidates of every stripe, I am very, very interested in their prospects to upset the duopoly and get greater representation within the electoral system. Yeah, these are strategies that we need to study, and so that is why I am interested in interviews such as these. And there are some Pan-Africanists and or otherwise left-leaning black activists in America who have a significant allegiance or semi-allegiance to the Green Party. I harbor no such allegiance, but I am very interested in the impact of Green Party internationally on electoral systems for the reasons that I have just elucidated, yeah? And so this was a very, very interesting interview, and I'm going to just make two very, very quick points on the interview itself. My comments are going to be focused on the lines of questioning, particularly of Angela Rye, and that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody who's watched the interview, because in that room she was basically playing the role of the chief inquisitor, yeah, based upon the fact that she is the one with the most electoral experience, yeah. And so my first observation is based around the line of questioning. In fact, the majority of her line of questioning, in fact, but in this particular instance, I'm homing in on the line of questioning that detailed Jill Stein's electoral attempts and the lack of success therein, yeah? And so she went through Jill Stein's electoral attempts from the early 2000s up until now, and described it as a litany of failure, yeah, in words, yeah? And so my interest in this is the fact that that line of questioning could give the impression that Angela Rye is unaware of the context in which third parties operate in the United States of America, and the difficulty that third parties have even to get, yeah, on the ballot in the United States of America. And I don't know Angela Rye particularly well, but from what I do know of her, I would find it difficult to believe that she is that ignorant of the context in which third parties operate. And so that would suggest that that line of questioning was and is a choice, and it's difficult to understand why such a choice would be made, except for just to create an environment in which you can advocate on behalf of your party and your candidate. And she kind of did make her allegiances clear in the interview. She is allegiant to Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party, at least in this instance, yeah? And so that, you know, was an interesting dynamic for me, yeah, for the reasons that I've already elucidated. The second observation that I would like to draw to your attention is the line of questioning, a similar line of questioning that led to the charge of Angela Rye repeating white supremacist, imperialist and colonial talking points. And Angela Rye took great exception to this accusation, so to speak, and she broadened this out in terms of a defense of AOC, Alexander Ocasio Cortez, yeah, because she has been involved in attacking the Green Party on behalf of and in defense of the Democratic Party and its candidate, Kamala Harris. And as a Garveyite who is passionate and unapologetic in the principle of race first, I wish to make it clear that there are limitations to which African people can evoke racial assertion and defense whilst they are advocating, in a position of advocating on behalf of institutions that are manifestly white supremacist and white imperialist. Yeah, that your assertion and defense of a black politics and black people within a political arena can only go so far when the ultimate goal and the ultimate beneficiary of your advocacy is a white supremacist and white imperialist institution, in this instance, namely the Democratic Party, the Democratic National Congress. And it makes no difference that in this instance, their candidate is a black woman, or at least a partially black woman. It makes no difference, yeah? And this is necessary to clarify, because many people try to reduce the principle of race first and racial solidarity to a superficial, skin-deep allegiance to any and all things black under all circumstances. And it should be clear for us that the Democratic Party is not a black institution. It does not have the interest of the masses of black people in America, let alone the rest of the world, at heart. And not only is that the case, but the Democratic Party is fundamentally an oppressive, neocolonial, imperialist party, brothers and sisters. And so, once again, there are limitations to which you can evoke racial advocacy as a black woman, a black man, and racial defense in those circumstances. And we as African people should not be fooled by those dynamics. And I'm one who is sensitive to the fact that there are certain things that African people need to say to other African people. I don't take kindly, in most circumstances, to non-Africans try to correct African people on the racial front. But if you are in a position of advocating on behalf of a manifestly white imperialist organization and institution, you open yourself to such a critique. And we need to make that absolutely clear. No long thing, 2 brief observations. I give thanks for your listening ears. Tenda mwadi, kudzai mazeo mokoro, abibi tumi, abibi fahodiye.